Hey there, welcome in a brand new DFS Army VIPs. It's your buddy Chapadong. I am a lead content editor and creator here at DFS Army. I've been here since the beginning. I'm probably one of the 3 or 4 OGs with the website. Been here since about 2017, and I have literally done everything from write daily articles to create videos, tutorials, and everything else here. So you're in good hands. Step on in. Let's show you how to do the MLB optimizer when it comes to cash games. We have a lot of tutorials when it comes to mass multi-entry and setting up tournament lineups and all that. But let me show you how I would focus on it when I'm doing a cash game, because there's really a couple of philosophies. Cash games, typically we try to diversify out. We try not to stack. We try to pay up for pitching and for high floor, high consistency players. But really and truly, games have changed. 2023 is a different year. And you're going to find that just the deadbeat droolers out there don't exist. That previous philosophy was a very defense first, almost prevent defense-ish methodology. And it was centered around the fact that everybody else was complete idiots and you just didn't have to take any chances to beat them all. Well, nowadays you do. So I would tell you, instead of playing pure cash 50-50s and head-to-heads, I would also incorporate 3-man leagues, triple ups, quintuple ups, 5-man leagues. Maybe if you played $100, and you wanted to do 60 head-to-heads and $25 worth of double ups and whatever else, I would take that extra 15 to $20 and mix and match some triple ups and maybe even the last dollar or two on a big single entry type of large field contest. And the reason why is because you never know. When it comes to baseball, the cash lineup can be the nuts, and it happens periodically throughout the year. And it'd be nice if you're there that you win more than just double your money, that instead you win 3 times, 4 times, 5 times your money. So you've got to put yourself in position to do it. And the way I would do that is by trying to win those contests. I'm not trying to be super low owned and super cute and super fancy. I'm just trying to use the most sensible plays. That's how we build cash lineups these days, is we use the smarter plays and then we let everybody else trip over their shoelaces by trying to get too fancy. So yes, I'm going to stack and I'm going to correlate. Yes, I'm going to look at ownerships. Yes, I'm going to think about some spots that most people might be overlooking that has similar chances to what we're trying to accomplish when it comes down to building a smart overall lineup. I'm going to try to win those tournaments, because if I get into the top 10% of a tournament field, I have just annihilated cash. I've completely crushed it. So that said, let me bring that to you and show you where those tools are here in 15 minutes or less. But let me also remind you that if you're a sports betting type, you like player props, you like overs, unders, you like spreads and totals and things like that, this AI betting model is a free download at the Sharp app, and it's there for you to get started with today. It is completely powered by DFS Army tools and DFS Army technology. So it's really kind of the same family, but it's one more way to increase your bankroll. When I'm talking about MLB and cash games, I'm going to click on the MLB tab. I'm going to click on the optimizer. In fact, first, let's go ahead and let's look at those leverage stacks just to get an idea. So I'm going to right-click those, but I'm going to click on the optimizer and bring it up. I'm a FanDuel guy. If you're a DraftKings guy, great. Have fun with it. I would do very similar things on either site. Our leverage stacks tool shows you the projected ownerships of the lineups. This is what I'm after when it comes to cash games. Where is everybody going? Looks like Boston tonight. Maybe some New York Yankees. Maybe some Atlanta and some Milwaukee. And down here, what? The Chicago Cubs. Those 5 teams, probably about all you need to know. Maybe the LA Dodgers for a 6th team for a little bit of fun. But those are about all you need to know. You don't need to worry about Arizona. You don't need to worry about San Diego. You don't need to worry about some low-owned Houston. That's not going to help you in a cash game, because mostly what you're doing with cash games, you're looking at the same data everybody else is looking at, and that is going to point you in the right direction. We have too many projections, too many computer algorithms, too much AI, if you will, behind us, and too much to point us in the wrong directions. Now, does it work every night? No. Your goal is to win more than 55% of the time in a cash game. If you can do that, you're profitable. If you can win more than, say, 60, 65% of the time, you can be profitable in 3-man leagues and triple ups and all of that kind of stuff. And of course, the higher you go, the more money you're going to unlock and you're going to win. So I'm looking specifically at these optimizers and looking at these types of teams to run in those optimizers. So really quickly, I'm just going to write this down so that I know who I talked about, and that's Boston, New York Yankees, and I think I said Milwaukee, Atlanta, and then down here at the bottom was who? The Chicago Cubs. Great. That's what I'm looking for. I'm going to go ahead and kick this out to the research station, and I'm going to show you another little trick here in a second. But over on the optimizer side, I'm going to use FanDuel, MLB, Classic, main slate. Oops, I'm on the back test side. I need to get over to the main mode, FanDuel, MLB, main slate today. I'm going to use a couple of different ideas here to talk to you about these cash game lineups, and then I'm going to turn you loose. And you're going to use the Discord forums for coaching advice. You're going to come in and ask us more questions. Sometimes this stuff brings up more questions than it answers. That's okay. That's what you're here for. That's what you're paying for. You're paying for the advice. You're paying for access to guys like me that have been there, done that, got the t-shirt, got the hat, and we're here to help you understand the tools and help you build better winning lineups. I'm going to take a look. You can study some implied run totals and things like that are right up here on the top of the page. That is going to actually correlate very, very highly with ownership. So when I'm chasing the herd, oftentimes being off the herd in a cash game is wrong, because if 85% of the people are on Shohei Ohtani, you should be there too. And the reason why is if he has a good game, it doesn't hurt you. If he has a bad game, it doesn't hurt you. When you're only going to win double your money, you don't need to take crazy risk and fade an 86% owned Shohei Ohtani. Just take him. Move on. You will probably be different somewhere in your lineup along the way. And that's, if you're correct and the other guy's correct, that's really what's going to make the difference. But you both had Shohei Ohtani, so it doesn't make a damn bit of difference what he did that night. Okay? If somebody is really, really, really popular, a lot of times you just take them. So we're going to look at some of the ownerships and how that correlates to what we're trying to do. I'm going to look at the pitching tab first, because pitching on FanDuel is it's critical on both sites, but it's very important on FanDuel because you only get one shot at it. And it looks like Max Scherzer is the lead dog in the clubhouse, and Lucas Giolito, is probably some form of a secondary option. Everybody else is more of a tournament pivot at 10% owned or less. You see where I'm getting at? So I'm probably going to be using one of these two pitchers. But guess what? The optimizer is probably going to pick it for me anyway. If it likes the value metric of 3.85, it may take a Grayson Rodriguez. And then I would have to go back and probably alter that, because I would rather have a Scherzer or a Giolito, because that's where everybody else is. 50% of the world is on one of those two pitchers. Probably correctly as well. The way that I'm going to confirm that is I'm going to look in the research station. And this isn't super fancy stuff. I'm going to click the pitchers tab. I'm going to scroll all the way over here to this area called the Chop Shop and K-Score. And if you want the K-Score video, I can show you how to use it. But there's Scherzer at the top. He's got the highest K-Score on the slate. That's why people like him. He's got the biggest and best strikeout matchup on the slate. And strikeouts are your floor and your ceiling when it comes to cash games in Major League Baseball. So Scherzer's probably a great play. Now, I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to make, say, 3 lineups. I don't know, maybe 5 if you really want to be funky. I'm not going to worry about hit randomness. That stuff is for tournaments. I'm not worried about it for a cash game. I'm going to make, say, 5 lineups. I might just have a couple of unique players just to give it the optimizer a little bit of wiggle room to make me 5 lineups, good quality lineups. And then personally, I'm going to stack. And when it comes to MLB, I stack 4x3 on FanDuel exclusively. On smaller slates, you might hear me talk a little bit about 4x4, but I'm doing 4x3. I'm allowing 100% of any of these. I don't care if they're all 5 lineups. I'm only picking one lineup. So I don't care if it's all Baltimore Orioles tonight or all Atlanta Braves tonight. I don't care. I'm just going to pick the best lineup I like. And I'm going to click Optimize. It's going to be all 4x3 stacked lineups with the pitcher. And the pitcher in this case, Max Scherzer, 100%, all 5 lineups. Look who else is in all 5 lineups. William Contreras, Mark Canha, Rafael Devers, Luis Urias, and Willy Adames, and Yoshida. These guys are all in 80. This core is pretty doggone tight. These guys are all in 4 of 5 or 5 of 5 of your lineups. These are the keys to the slate. Okay. Now, again, they need to confirm. They need to get the green check mark and line up. Like a Mark Canha with no ownership projections might not be projecting in the lineup tonight. He might be. I don't know. Willy Adames was a scratch last night. He didn't get the start, so maybe he doesn't find his way into the lineup either. But as a general rule, the projections are telling us this is the best possible lineup that you can build based on the projections. If everybody just does what they're supposed to do, you should be pretty golden. And when you look down here at these ownerships, you can get somewhere upwards of 175 to 180% team ownership, which is a very chalky lineup, which for cash games is a pretty good lineup. You're stacked. Most people aren't going to be stacked. You take your favorite one, Scherzer with Boston and Milwaukee. Boston and Milwaukee with a Tatis one-off. Boston and Milwaukee with a Judge one-off. Boston and Milwaukee with a Judge one-off. And I mean, whatever floats your boat. Those are your lineups. Those are your cash lineups. Let's say you didn't like, I don't know. What wouldn't you like about this? Let's say that it's not high enough owned for you. You don't like Kana and you don't like Adames. Well, then let's go down here and let's go to your hitters tab and sort by team here. And let's scroll down to Milwaukee and let's take out Kana because he might not start tonight with no projected ownership. And let's take out Adames and let's say he just has not been very good lately. And let's just run it again. Same thing, 4x3 stacks. Let's see if it switches anything up. You've still got a ton of Scherzer. You still got a lot of Boston. Got a lot of Judge. Oh, all of a sudden the Angels pop in there next. The Angels are your secondary stack, maybe. Totally up to you. Luis Urias is not projecting in the lineup either, so maybe you go back and uncheck him and do the exact same thing that I just did. But if you look at this lineup, it's a 1-2-X-4, very tightly correlated in Boston, and it's a 4-5-7 lineup in the LA Angels. So you've got the middle of both orders. You got Max Scherzer as your pitcher. You've got a tremendous amount of ownership up here at the top. You're in a really, really good spot. If I wanted to then go back and I could check those guys in, but I could also force ownership at, say, 180% team ownership. This is a fancier method, and we'll see if this one works. This is going to force even more high-owned players into my lineup. It's going to show me again that Boston and New York are going to be my keys to the night. And at 186% owned, 182% owned, 181% owned, these are very chalky lineups. These are good cash lineups. And being that they're stacked, not many people stack in cash anymore. So if you like Boston and New York, there you go. If you like Boston, it's all the way up and down the lineup. Boston, New York, Boston, New York, Boston, New York. These are all techniques in all very strong ways. I would encourage you to take these methods and do the same thing day in and day out. This isn't about tonight. This isn't about tomorrow night. This isn't about 3 nights from now. This is about a month or about a season. And what I find people's biggest issue with being successful at daily fantasy sports is their inability to be consistent. They're too busy trying to learn this and trying to learn that and trying to learn this and trying to learn that they don't stay put in one place and then allow the volatility of this game to come and go. They're always chasing their tail. And when they're chasing their tail, they're always behind the curve. And they get demolished. So I would encourage you to pick a method, pick a way, build your lineups, and do the same thing. It'll change your teams for you. It won't be Boston tomorrow night or the Yankees tomorrow night. It'll be somebody else or Milwaukee, whatever. It's not going to be the same couple of teams every night. It changes throughout the week. And you get different players, and you get different teams, and you get different things to root for. But the bottom line is you're building a fundamentally sound lineup that can demolish cash games and even get you up there in some of the tournaments and GPPs that we like to play and really help boost your bankroll. So be that as it may, hopefully this gives you a lot of information, and hopefully it helps you get yourself on the right track and bring up maybe a few more questions that you can then come inside our Discord rooms and ask us as the coaches. We'd be happy to help you out. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.